All of free agency fallout is finally just about done. We are getting ready for the NFL draft in about a month. And I felt it would be good for the Sunday Sicko stream to bring on a guest to help us with a drafters draft. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have Emo Cowboy with us. Let's do it.
3, 2, 1.
Good morning, Tyler. Thank you for waking up on a Sunday morning to join us for an early boy draft.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me on, man. It's been too long since we got to stream together, so it feels good to get back at it.
Yeah, you would think that we would stream together more since drafts just don't stop ever. We're just drafting nonstop every day of the year in this black hole as we, enter into the magma of the Earth's core, drafting through these things. But here we are. It's been a few months since we've done one together, and we're going to fire at drafters today. Have you been doing a lot of the drafters stuff, or?
Ever since Tom and I got done with the hell cycle of the slows for recording, and I finally hit like a plateau where I don't feel the need to jump into a draft every single day. And that lasted 2 days, by the way. I was like, look at me. I'm making such it. I was like, I gotta get in one. I've been firing over on drafters just because it's been nice to just change up what type of contest and what type of structure I'm building. And that's been enough to keep it fresh. That does make it sound like I have a problem, and I do agree with that. So I've been on drafters the last 2 weeks, and it's been nice because it's like, okay, different pockets, a little different. It's got some of that, DK chaos. I'm like, oh, someone took a quarterback 1 round early, so we're all going to freak out real quick and bleed the room dry. And that's fun because it keeps everything really fresh and exciting. And I get to take different players because it's, PPR and full season. So I like to balance this out with some of my stronger takes. And it's like, okay, what if I'm right on the macro, but I'm wrong on the micro? Well, I'm rewarded more often than that on the full season versus the playoff week, where you can be right up until week 15 and then, may God have mercy on your soul through the playoff gauntlet.
Then just get absolutely dusted off. Yes. All right. So we'll jump right into this. We're going to do this like a normal Sunday where this is more of a laid back draft stream. So we're going to fire some music in the background. We'll talk best ball, but we'll also just sort of dick around as well, because
I love that.
Because we have so long to draft coming up over the next couple of months. And so while we're waiting for the draft, let's go ahead and say good morning to a Mega King. He's in here. B. Kurt is excited for Best Ball Brunch today. Jonathan's in here saying good morning, sickos. Colin likes to throw an eggplant in there. I'm guessing that's for you, Tyler.
Yeah.
Best Ball on call is here saying good morning. Olaf is here, and then Vaporware is saying, Emo Coakley, was that a phase you went through in high school? And it was not. I will tell you what my favorite hoodie was in high school, and then you'll know who I was and probably be able to carbon date how old I am. My favorite hoodie was a white hoodie with the baby blue writing Echo hoodie. So that tells you exactly how old I am, I think. So
it's funny because I did not some would say I never finished my emo phase from like a music culture and life perspective process, but I never looked emo. I didn't. Well, okay, I had long hair, but I didn't like. My little brother was the one that like flat ironed it and dyed it black and stuff. I was emo on the inside where it counted. I never appeared emo on the outside of like a couple of band t-shirts here or there, which was always funny because I'd go to concerts. And it took me a while to get into dressing emo because when I grew up, it changed rapidly from like what it was in the 90s, early 2000s, and then like mall emo in like 2010.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm too lazy to try to keep up with all the shit that they're doing. Also, I'm too poor to like pay for all this like hair dye and accessories. I will buy a t-shirt and that's what I can do. But the funny story about that is that I did have a pair of I took a pair of skinny jeans from my brother, and I wore those for like 12 years. These black skinny jeans, to like every show I went to, and I've gone to like over 200 shows. I was a 25-year-old man purging clothes when I found out that the very short pockets that cupped each ball individually, that's how tight they were women's sevens.
Ah,
I had no idea that I was the exact stereotype. I just thought I found like a really flexible pair of skinny jeans that were my lucky jeans for 12 years, and it turns out, no, those are women's skinny jeans. So I became the stereotype at concerts unknowingly.
yeah, I never did the skinny jeans thing, but I also never did the overly baggy thing. The worst trend from when I was like early 20s was the long tees, the long white tees.
Yeah, those got really popular with like the skater guys. It's like the big baggy clothes. I was a big boy. I was like, dude, I can't find baggy clothes.
Yeah, that was that. I had like one shirt because it was for, my best friend's been into the musical side of things for years. So for one of the shows that he had, we had these long shirts, and I was like, I will never wear this again.
I don't have a long torso. I'm an average height king with an average ass torso. So like I hate long tees for the most part.
Well, we are going to be on the clock here in a second, sir, and we are drafting from the 10 spot. We have players like Puka, Nico, Ashton Ginty, Brock Bowers if you're frisky. Anyone that you would like to gravitate towards here?
All four of those guys are nice. I am a big fan of Puka and Nico personally. I understand season long if you're worried about some of the Adams stuff to lean Nico, but I still think Puka can put up a solid season in touchdowns and yards and just pure targets. And in PPR, like I think he's the favorite to lead the team in targets. Adams might lead the team in touchdowns or like red zone looks, just how they use their guys. But I'm in on the passing attack as a whole, just because they don't normally allocate a lot of targets to tight ends and the running backs. And so this just becomes kind of like that old school fun 60% of the offense goes to the wide receivers, like the Dolphins were doing until their offensive line imploded.
Yeah,
I don't. A new yak toy.
I don't think Puka gets too hurt from the Devontae Adams stuff at all. I think he's fine up here. Yeah, I personally am Nico over Puka, but that's just because I think Nico is primed for a huge season if we can have a hamstring that doesn't explode halfway through the season. That would be nice.
Or an offense that just, and the new OC is an unknown. London here is solid. If Bowers is almost never coming back, so I'm good with London for the PPR unless you have a more fun click you have in the second round.
No, if I wasn't going to go London, I think I would pull up McBride to get the tight end. If that was something we wanted to do.
Yeah, let's pull up McBride. I like that.
All right, let's do that.
I haven't done that enough in these. I think about it every time I hit like 18, 19. I go, McBride should probably be going here, but then I think construction. I'm like, well, Kittle's pretty cromulent in the fourth round or whatever.
Yeah, I like Kittle. We've been so we do the lab every Wednesday night over at the Spike Week Discord. We send out a link, and everyone from the Discord gets to jump in, and we start having conversations about different strategies throughout best ball. And one thing we were talking about a bit more this past Wednesday was solo tight end and how to incorporate that into drafts. And sort of the thesis this year is the only guys you could do it with that makes sense is Bowers or McBride this year.
The guys are just going to see like wide receiver volume week in and week out. Yeah.
Right. And if you start just looking at like points over replacement and all that fun stuff, like it is very viable to do it with those two. Now, I wouldn't go overboard with it. I'm going to do it. But in order to do it properly, I think you need to find a way to be overweight both those guys in general and then allocate. So if you're doing like 16% McBride and Bowers each, trying to find a way to make sure you get like 3% each on solo tight end. And I'm just kind of spitballing those numbers right now, but that's like the way I will be looking at it when I sort of hone in on that situation.
Yeah, that way if you're giving yourself a spectrum to win, if they go like 99th, 95th percentile, you've captured the upside in the single guy constructions, and in the 90 minus percentile, you've captured them having really awesome seasons, but not quite enough to, necessitate the single use. Yeah, I think that's smart.
Right. And I think I like it on drafters. I actually like it more in the playoff formats for that situation, because if you have a McBride or Bowers and they just have one of those legendary elite seasons, like, it doesn't matter who your second tight end would have been. You're going to be advancing those teams anyways. And then you already have the guy that's going to, propel you through the playoffs as well. So that's sort of the way I prefer it, but it doesn't mean I won't do it on drafters.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've seen drafters that strategy work better with quarterbacks, like your 6th round Hurts being the quarterback one, stuff like that. Yeah, tight end's a little tougher, but that said, I love to remind people that, like, it is the lowest scoring position. So if you hit a guy that's giving you, weekly upside, there's very frequently not a guy that's replacing that score within like the top 5, outside of the top 5 dudes in a week anyway.
Right.
Because of how the scoring is.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like that, just because you're just not allocating a lot of stuff to the position that just doesn't score a lot. And we saw the same thing with like Andrews. When Andrews had his nuke season, it was still incredibly valuable in the playoffs. So I don't mind that. Oh, and yeah, I was gonna say I love looking at the data of, like, for playoff and full season, like which positions, overlapping buys and stuff, like really kill you. The one that almost doesn't matter at all is tight end. You lose like a point and a half of expected advance rate.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you don't need to feel bad about covering your ass at that position from an advance rate standpoint, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have some more thoughts on that, but we are about to be on the clock here as we wait for Cullen to make his pick. He takes Jacobs, sort of getting into a wide receiver wasteland. I wouldn't mind grabbing Worthy or Devonta Smith, or is there a running back that you feel we have to have here?
No, I definitely think we can. I don't love any of these running backs. I think they're all, it's a very flat tier. So yeah, I'm with you, Worthy or Smith. Worthy maybe has the better odds full season to give us what we need. Playing into Kelsey continuing to kind of age out, maybe gets managed from a workload perspective more often from week 1. Potential, Rice suspension, whatever. So you never know which running back's going to come back around. So yeah, I like that plenty. And then there's there's just Worthy becomes a much more refined player than he was last year, catches more of his passes in bounds, 20 yards plus down the field, and gives us more usable weeks.
Yeah. And it works out because I'm fine with any of the RBs that are coming back. I'm fine with going Jaden Daniels if that's a route we wanted to go.
Yeah. Jaden's such a fun click.
Did you say Jaden's a fun click?
Yeah, he's always a fun click. I'm not into the Brees thing at all, especially season long.
Yeah, I low-key think he might get traded. Do you want to go Jaden? Do you want to go Chase Brown? Do you want Omarion?
Omarion or Jaden? Let's do Omarion. Omarion Hampton, heavy steam to be a first-round running back. It looks like his landing spots could be, somewhere. They take a first-round running back. They're going outside of Arthur Smith. You're going to use him just volume-wise a shitload. And I think getting youth and draft capital is going to be insanely valuable. And he's a good enough pass catcher too. So for like this format, and then I have to remind myself that like running back smashing in regular season points is huge. Yeah. And I feel much better about Hampton doing that than I do about Cook at that ADP, Brees at that ADP, Chase Brown at that ADP. I talked to Joe Goodberry, who's like the Cincinnati guy, and he agreed that like the read of like the coaching staff doesn't really want to use Chase Brown in an ideal world like they used him in the second half of the season. And then that makes it tough for him to pan out, especially in PPR formats, if he's more like the first and second down guy, seeding some of the work on passing downs and stuff like that.
Yeah, but what I will counterpoint for that, because I felt that exact way, until the P. Ryan resigning. Now, I know P. Ryan's going to come in. He is going to get some of that third down work, but I think that also showed that they are comfortable with Chase Brown getting 65-70% of the work there, and that's going to be fine. So as a fourth round pick, I like him much better than James Cook for sure at this point in time. If they dropped a rookie, all bets are off at that point. So
Yeah. Oh, and that was the thing. His fine point was he expects them to not stop at P. Ryan. He expects another rookie added and see how it shakes out with how it's getting. You're right. They like Chase Brown a lot.
yeah,
Apparently, the philosophy is post Mixon, split it up, keep guys fresh, whatever. So he kind of has to like run real pure with his efficiency, which we saw him do with less workload, be like really efficient, really explosive, and still an offense that's probably going to have to score 30 points a week to stay competitive with the defense the way it is.
yeah. So I like him for these tournaments because he's not going to move. So you're getting him at, I think, a fine price in these ones. Again, all bets are off after the draft and what happens there. We are coming back up on the clock here. Right now, we have 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a running back. We are getting into a gross part of the draft where we're seeing names like Chuba Hubbard, Kenneth Walker, Cortland Sutton, Kamara, Waddle, Jennings, Debo. Is anyone jumping out to you in this range?
I'm a big Juwan guy, but Chuba here feels fine as well. But wide receiver does feel like a priority if we want to grab our preferred wide receiver and then push running back again.
Cool. You want to grab Jennings?
Yeah, I like Jennings here a lot, especially in PPR formats. Like his target earning volume all season long was pretty impressive. Debo's gone. Ricky was talented, but he wasn't like a target earning monster. Ayuk's never been a target earning monster. He's got to come back from a double ligament injury. He might start the season on IR, and he might start the season on a different team with the whispers coming around. And so it's like, I think Jennings is the guy. Jennings and Kittle will have the most to benefit from a team resetting with culture and contracts going into June the most. And so I really want to be heavy on those guys.
All right, so we almost did get Chuba to fall back to us here. He does not. We are seeing Debo here. We are seeing Kenneth Walker, Kamara, if you're into that. Judkins is here.
Do you just want to get another wide receiver and punt the running back again?
Yeah, we could do that. Do you want to grab Debo?
Yeah, sure. I think in this format it makes sense with the low ADOT slot stuff he's likely to see in Washington. I don't love his historical comps, but the couple of that, and I think it is like 2 or 3. The 2 or 3 examples of a guy like this panning out and beating their previous season points per game because of a shift in role and focus in the offseason. In this format, it makes sense to. I think if he's going to beat you, it's going to be in like a full season stuff, not necessarily down the stretch at 31 in the playoffs type of thing. And then especially, I don't know if he's going to be. He was pretty efficient with his lower ADOT slot stuff. So I mean, that from a role fit, it does fit. I just don't know how much pass volume the entire team is going to see because they do like to run the ball a lot. Jaden does like to scramble, but it's an exciting offense. I just expect the team to be really strong. The defense could get better, and I do expect them to add like a really solid running back that they might trust in more situations. But the receivers are still pretty old and pretty meh outside of like Terry and Debo. So yeah. If anything happens to those guys, Debo does have the chance to really outpace guys for stretches.
Yeah, and I feel like he's going to have some of those just like Debo games. I don't know if they'll be as frequent as they used to be, but with this format, I think that we could get some explosion weeks. And as far as Juwan Jennings, as the premier Juwan Jennings guy last year, I am fine with taking Juwan Jennings this year as well.
Yeah, people forget that like he he broke out in the playoffs before he got his extension in the summer, and then broke out in the regular season.
You know who didn't forget that was me. I
true.
didn't forget that. Now, I will say, once they signed Ricky Pearsall, I cooled on. I mean, once
Yeah.
they drafted Pearsall, I cooled a bit because I didn't really know what to do at that point in time. But this time last year, I was in on Juwan Jennings. I had a big bag of Jennings in the pre-draft stuff, which was
You'd love
fun.
to see it.
It was good. It was good.
I've got a really granular Ricky Pearsall thought I'll share, especially for this format after we get done with our dual picks.
I like it. We are about to be on the clock here. We can take Mahomes to stack up with Worthy, which is kind of fun.
I think he comes back around. I don't know that no one else took Kansas City, did they?
No, but I don't know these drafters, so
that's fair.
But who do you like here? Do you like Jalen Warren? We have 8 seconds.
Warren's probably fine.
Yeah.
In PPR.
I like Warren here as well. They are bringing somebody in. I don't have any delusions that he's going to be a 90% workhorse guy. They are going to bring someone else in, but I do think you could see Warren 55, 60%. And in the 7th round with PPR scoring, it feels totally fine.
Especially if they do get Aaron Rodgers, that's a huge boost for Warren as a pass catcher. And especially if they don't get a Hampton or whoever they like in the first round, and they just keep, because I do expect running backs to go ahead of them in both the first 2 rounds that they like a lot. If they get a 3rd round Ollie Gordon, I'm super into Warren because he's back to seeing at least a 50-50 with most of the pass catching. So yeah, I like that a lot. Boom, we get him to come back around.
Yeah, I'll take 8th round Mahomes here.
Love it.
With Worthy. All right, so let's just recap the team really fast through 8 rounds. We have Mahomes, Amarion Hampton, Jalen Warren, Puka, Xavier Worthy, Juwan Jennings, Debo Samuel, Trey McBride. Feels like a pretty fun team so far. I'll take it.
So the fun thing about taking Jennings in season long is that I want to remind the good people that, from the health side perspective, Pearsall one of his draft concerns and post-draft concerns that we found out was that he has like this really unstable shoulder injury issue that's been popping up. And when the 49ers took him, they were hoping that like, hey, maybe this is something that just with rest it gets better, or with the surgery. He didn't get either one to address it. And they found out that like this is just like a chronic thing he's gonna have to deal with. And if it dislocates or whatever. Before the extracurricular injury that he incurred over the summer, and then we saw that he had some soft tissue like hammy stuff. So just from like an injury prone perspective, he could be a player that provides some really solid weeks, but could be more Debo than they even expect him to, in like just missing games for various shoulder, hamstring, etc. issues like he did last year. And in season long, once again, Kittle and Jennings as the volume guys would stand to benefit from losing the talented yak target in the offense. So I like him a lot in these full season scoring where his profile, and the other thing is like he transitioned from the slot to the X mid-season and did really well with that. And so he gets another offseason to get reps at the outside and be this versatile chess piece. And I really do see and I'm lower on CMC because like the Achilles tendonitis stuff does not historically tend to go away, especially with guys nearing 30.
Yeah.
And this offense kind of shifted to like a really deep passing attack focus, despite having some O-line injury stuff. So I do like that this team could certainly, hey, we're paying Purdy, much like the Bengals are kind of like, hey, we're paying all these offensive guys. We have to make offense the focal point of how we're winning games. And in that realm, the San Francisco passing attack benefits a lot.
That team as a whole has gone over is going through a huge transition this year, both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Oh, yeah. It's almost going to be like, I don't think they're full rebuild by any means, but it does feel like this is like a bridge year for them to get from what they were to what they're going to be. So I wouldn't be shocked if the defense is a lot worse this year relative to what they've been. I'm not saying they're not going to be like the 32nd defense in the league or anything, but offensively, we just might see more of that stuff. And I'm on the record with CMC that I'm not drafting him this year. But I do think if you are drafting CMC, the lean should be you should either have 20% CMC or 0% CMC. Like it's one or the other. You shouldn't be middling that guy.
And at his cost, I am so far at 0. Because there's also just better bets to take around him. From a health perspective, and it's like at running back that matters.
Absolutely. We are about to be back on the clock here. We are seeing people like Travis Etienne. If you want to vomit and take him, I like Charbonnet in this range.
Kyler Murray falling back to us with McBride isn't the worst thing.
That's actually fun too. That's a good point.
I think Kyler here. I think he snap goes just because the ADP drop and we have him stacked. I like that, and then we can
let's do it. Let's do that.
Figure it out. That's nice. That worked out very nicely.
That's pretty fun. Yeah, let's do that. So we get Mahomes and Murray. We're done at QB.
Boom.
Like that. And
I hate this range of the draft. By the way, it's so muddy.
It's pretty gross. It is definitely pretty gross. It's so funny that this time of the year there are the pockets that we don't like, which is like I really don't like the 5th, 6th round too much.
Yeah.
And then this range is the next range that I really don't like. But in general, once everything slides into where it's supposed to be,
it'll look a lot better.
I love those ranges. It's like I know exactly what I want to do, and they end up being my favorite ranges of the draft. Unfortunately, Sharbs goes. That would have been my pick here. I don't mind Bateman, believe it or not.
I was gonna say Mooney and Bateman stand out. I'm not into Hollywood personally, unless you feel the need to stack him up. But I'm fading Hollywood at these prices.
You want to go Bateman?
Yeah, let's go Bateman. Let's chase some touchdowns.
Yeah. Which I think is fine as your 5th wide receiver.
Oh, absolutely.
I
mean, attacking an offense that we know has top 2 upside and top 10 floor touchdown wise, you could do worse than get pieces of that have proven to soak up a lot of that. And plus, without Zay Flowers, without Andrews on this team, we're getting an outsized correlated bet that, not only are we chasing a good offense, but if he's the beneficiary more often than not of Andrews on the last year of his deal, who was up and down and volatile from an efficiency standpoint outside of touchdowns, if he regresses in touchdowns, if Zay Flowers continues to be a good ancillary piece from a ADOT perspective and not really the focal point, well, then we benefit that as well from the teams that have him. So I like that a lot. Mooney with Penix is a different bet because London was finally getting force-fed targets. So I don't know how much I love or want to do that, because I also expect them to do something to replace the slot. They did that with Rondale Moore and McLeod last year.
Yeah.
And I think McLeod's on the last year of his deal. This draft has a lot of really talented big slot guys. So I also think the target competition could get better, especially if they move on from Pitts. This is a great tight end class. So I like London. I like Bijan. I like Penix. And then outside of that, I'm worried about roles post-draft.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. They need to move on from Pitts because I need that out of my life.
Where does he go where you're kind of back in, though?
Where I'm back in for Pitts?
Everybody's got one.
Giants, right?
Probably, yeah.
Although I think the Giant stuff is like Neighbors is just Neighbors. He's fine. But I think the Giant stuff is starting. We've even seen it in this chat today. Like everyone's like, Jameis Winston to Neighbors. It's like, dude, Jameis Winston's going to be on the field for maybe 2 games.
Maybe 3. Yeah, I think 3 is your $4 million over 2 years.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of quarterbacks that have made a lot more than that to be backups.
Yeah. It's more likely he doesn't start a game than he starts 3.
Yeah.
Like exactly. Is what I would say.
Exactly. Like if they take a rookie at 1 or 3, I don't think Winston touches the field, guys.
Yeah.
And if he does, it's not long. It's Winston. That first pick that all the coaches go, "What are you doing?" The rookie's going in.
Yeah, it's fun to think about. I like the thought. It's a good
it
dream.
makes me hard, but much like everything else that does, I go, I'm not seeing that.
Yeah. All right, we are back on the clock here. It is gross. We are definitely not taking J.K. Dobbins. Do you like Tootin? Do you like a receiver?
Hit the running back tab for me real quick. Tootin's fine. I don't love his ADP. I think White or Benson for our stacks. I this is a range where I just reach for guys I want.
Let's grab Benson because
Yeah,
I've grabbed him consistently on drafters, and since we have the Arizona bet, let's do it.
Yeah,
I like Benson a lot this year.
Yeah, if Connor misses 4 to 6 games, Benson at this ADP is doing great things for our roster.
I concur. And we're going to be coming back around. One guy that I do want to start taking a little bit here, it's going to sound a little gross, but if he does sign with New England, I would like to get Diggs in the late 11th, 12th so that I don't have to take him when he moves up a little bit.
Yeah, he's a guy that probably signs closer to when he's ready to hit the football field is, I guess, the holdup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. He's signing somewhere to take someone's job. We just don't know who it is yet.
Unless you want to do another running back here, like if you want to take Tootin now that he's still here, or Rachaad White.
No, let's do Diggs.
Okay.
I don't mind. I was taking Tootin in the 18th, 19th, 20th round. If you followed, and I'm by no means a college football guy, but just quickly Googling and checking things, guys who were expected to be fast. The top 5 of those consistently was Tootin. Tootin goes and bees fast, and we're like, oh my god. But his mock draft projected role hasn't changed. Like before the combine, Lance Zierlein had him as a top 5 film grade RB in the class, and every scout expected him to be really fast and do the combine really well. And then he does both of those things. His mock draft projected range has not really changed. No one's really mocking him higher than he was going. So I think his ADP is far outshot where the downside is of still being a day 3 pick. I think his odds of maybe going in the second boosted a little bit because NFL teams do like seeing a guy go fast. But I think his profile, it still has kind of like Darrington Evans-esque downside. And there are guys that are going later than him that have just as good upside, and the price allows you to be less downside, less risk at the price. So I think in this range, I'm more going after the vets with roles who are just getting suppressed by the market, like White and Benson. Should probably right now as like handcuffs with standalone or standalone plus the handcuff contingency in White's case are probably going too low just because the market's saying, gross. But all the coach speak for those guys are saying, we still like them, we still want to use them. And the roles could, continue to be pretty solid. And so there's no reason for those guys to go 2-3 rounds after Charbonnet, quite frankly, especially because their offenses could much likely be much better. So I just reach for those guys. The Guerrero thing, I like taking him as an anti-CMC, but we know that they can add 2 to 3 more running backs before camp. So it's also like, I think I'm just going to keep taking stabs on phantom San Francisco backs and see what happens.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. We are about to be back on the clock here. We should probably look into the running back tab here. There is a guy that I would be perfectly fine picking here. There's a few guys, but there's one that I really like. I'm a Jalen Wright guy right now. I don't know what your thoughts are on him.
I haven't taken him a lot, so if you feel strongly, by all means. I think the Madison thing kind of signaled that maybe Wright is still the RB3, but he's got juice. I just don't know how he fits on the NFL offense. I'm probably too player takey with him. I'll probably just have to take stabs. I just worry that he could end up being still the guy on the outside looking in, because for instance, like Dylan Sampson and Bashal Tutin are kind of like him in this draft, but could do it better on the NFL field than he is currently figured out. I still think the O-line is going to be kind of bad. It could get slightly better. It can't get top 10 anytime soon. So I don't know how much work he's going to get. I thought last year was the nut run out, like multiple games with Mostert gone and out. This is the time to like fill in and do stuff. But we've seen guys like that struggle year one. Even Trey Benson struggled until he kind of started figuring it out. So in this range, I probably got to start taking him more. I do like Giddens, Harvey, Ford. I don't know that the Browns can afford to take running back too high in the draft, and he could just be a 50% minimum guy again. It's hard to know what to do with this Browns offense, though.
Yeah, well, they don't even know what to do with it. So
yeah, I wonder why.
Well, we are back on the clock. We do.
Do you want to do Thielen at this price, which I'm okay with in PPR, or another running back in Harvey?
I don't mind Harvey, and I wouldn't mind Algier. Do you prefer Harvey over Algier?
Let's do Harvey. Let's try to get like a non-handcuff in this backfield.
Sure, that works out.
Apparently, the draft community is a big Harvey fan. I mean, I think Harvey slight over Giddens. I've just heard more guys. I trust their models like Giddens a lot, but Harvey's draft capital could be really solid.
Yeah, I just think Algier's too low again this year.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like the biggest Bijan guy there is out there, but even as like the biggest Bijan guy there is, when you can get Algier, who we know there's a role for him, like we know what that role is, and we know there's fantasy points associated with that role in the 14th round on drafters, especially if you're teetering at the running back position and going like some sort of pseudo zero RB, which we have sort of like a weird hero RB build here. Just knowing that you're getting those points from Algier in a lot of builds just makes so much sense, and I'm totally fine with 14th. Like if you're going to give me 14th round Algier, I'm probably going to be a little overweight him this year.
And I have been. I mean, his ADP is almost similar everywhere you draft. He even falls. And I'm like, what are we doing? Yeah, like you just said, he is one of the few locked in handcuffs that will see 85+% of the work if his starter goes down. His team is committed to giving him no less than 6 touches a week because of how they offensively, want to philosophically set this team up.
Yeah.
And that includes an outsized red zone role, which is really annoying for the Bijan folks. I'm one of them. We mentioned that like Trey Benson and Rashad White's price is probably too low for their roles. Algier probably deserves to be near the top of that tier, 2-3 rounds more expensive.
I agree.
He's who Zach Charbonnet people want Zach Charbonnet to be.
Yeah,
quite frankly.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a Zach Charbonnet person, completely agree with that. God, wide receivers gross. Anyone? Yeah, I'm not opposed to tight end. We see Otten, we see Gesicki, who I like. Anyone that's jumping out?
I'm not a guy, but I just tight end here makes sense. I like Otten potentially to just get more volume in this, and potentially we saw it last year. His contingent upside if either one of the guys goes down, it's just a big body guy, and the Tampa Bay offense will just funnel 4 to 8 targets at the tight end any given week. They have, I think they're one of the more underrated, stable offenses to put our bets in. I have a receiver I'd love to pull up down here for sure.
All right, cool. We will hope that they don't get drafted, and we will do that with our next pick. This draft is screaming by.
This is great. This is the fastest pre-draft I've ever been in, and this is fantastic.
Yeah, the Sunday Sicko streams are pretty good for that.
Shout out Sunday Sickos. Oh, Noel goes. I want to Noel so bad.
Noel would have been fun. Dude, I don't hate Slayton here.
I like Slayton here a lot.
Yeah. I mean,
if we're wrong on the Winston thesis, you know who also will benefit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've committed to him finally. That was the the most toxic relationship I've ever seen in the NFL. The
And I
Darius
want my boy to get out of there. I'm like, don't go back.
He's
not like that. You would have been paid so handsomely. Oh, Drake May and Darius Slayton would have fed families.
yes.
I'm like, come on. Oh, that was so frustrating.
Yeah. Well,
but I still think there's a pretty good chance that Giants do convince the Titans to trade out of one for Cam Ward. I mean, we've been hearing that since the combine, and I think Cam Ward matches up with Slayton and Neighbors very well from what he does well and what they'll have him do well. But I mean, they're just going to run back the Danny Dimes offense and hope that he's not as shit. And even if he is as shit on a rookie contract, that's not that bad for the first couple of years. So I'd be much more worried if they end up with Sanders, because I don't think Slayton's game matches very well. I mean, Sanders, if they get Sanders at Slayton's there, he's probably decoy for Neighbors, who's going to get 35% of targets everywhere on the field. Wandale ends up probably being a very nice pick. But if they get Ward, if they get Dart, if they somehow decide they want Rodgers, they want Winston, because they're not getting the first overall pick and they're going to go with God on how they're going to play quarterback in the draft, Slayton continues to be fun.
yep.
So yeah, I like him a lot.
If I'm the Titans, I'm smash accepting the best offer I get in this year's draft. Like just get me out of this one spot.
I might be reading too much into this. I love draft puzzle rumors. I eat this shit up. I think one of two things is happening, and based on the previous rumors and comments and scuttlebutt coming out in February, was Titans want to trade out. The Abdul Carter thing did not help them feel any better about what to do at one. They have to retool everywhere, and the fastest way to do that is just like lots of picks and lots of cheap guys now and in the future. But it looks like they might be holding out. I don't think that they've shifted to take Ward. I think they've shifted to, can we get anyone else to up this package we already have in our hands? Yep. Because more is better. Well, can we get the Raider? And I think free agency fucked them. I think with the Raiders getting Geno and Darnold going to Seattle, less players at the table to drive that price up, and I guess they're just sitting around waiting for the Steelers to get antsy, is my guess.
Yeah. All right, so we are on the clock here.
I'm cool with Martinez. Just another rookie bet. The film guys like him. I think he, Harvey, and Wright are all. Can this guy get some work on a good offense? Maybe, probably.
Yeah. And with our quarterback and tight end situation, we're obviously not looking to go 3 of either, in my opinion. So we can take some extra stabs at these running back and wide receiver spots.
Yeah.
So the quarterback thing worked out real nice. 8th and 9th round Mahomes, Kyler is the dream for this team.
Thank you, draft room. And yes, Tebow Time says the Steelers are the last team that are going to be like, they are the guys that put that offer on the table and they go like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, accept or don't. I'm not. They just Tomlin just stares at you and just waits for you to accept or not.
Tomlin's like, I'll just play quarterback this year. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. We are on the clock.
They go sign Pete Carroll. Hey, Pete, can you throw I don't mind Tolbert in this range. I expect them to add a rookie, but wide receiver 3 on an offense, I'm pretty low on the Schottenheimer thing, but if the Cowboys do what Cowboys do and don't take a rookie receiver, he's way underpriced. And if Schottenheimer's not as bad as I think he is, Tolbert's probably underpriced from offensive output. But I mean, he looked like, what was his last game of the season? I think he caught like 7 or 8 catches on 10 or 11 targets for over 100 yards. So he's kind of sneaky, old school breakout type of player who just plays boundary. And with a healthy Dak, they seem to have a pretty good repertoire on broken plays in the red zone. So it's like, as an 18th round guy in PPR, if he's going to give me a couple of games where he's just randomly their matchup guy, and we've seen that with the McCarthy offense, at least with like Michael Gallup, of like this boundary guy who's not CeeDee Lamb or Cooks will just sometimes randomly get 8 or 10 targets a game to play matchups because we refuse to shift who's playing who. like Cliff Kingsbury. It's like you are on the left, you are on the right. Whoever's the worst cornerback is going to get fed. I think it's nice.
And these are the thought processes you're going through with every 18th round pick. So
exactly, how does this guy work out? I love Trey Tucker too. I just think, I think Tucker. It's more likely his team takes a guy because they said we need a wide receiver 1 type, and so we know Trey Tucker is likely going to end up being the 3rd wide receiver, and that does not mean 3rd target because Bowers is obviously there soaking it up. But with Geno there, we know he'll take some deep balls, and we've seen Jake Bobo have random use days, and Tucker's much more explosive and efficient, so I like Tucker as well. But in PPR, I lean guys like Tolbert slightly.
Yeah. For those of you who are ever wondering what my dog is doing during the streams, I will show you. That is what's happening over there.
Good boy. I was hoping he's just like licking his nuts.
No, he's just.
You're like, if you're ever wondering what that sound is.
No, just absolutely passed out. That is what he does during these on Sundays. Just
how's the weather up there?
It's a little cold today, but it's been getting a bit better. I bring him to the pond on Sunday mornings before this and to run around, and it was 29 degrees, which was fine.
Damn.
So
it was 72 here and windy as fuck. It was great.
Yeah, the wind has been, I feel like, because I work outside, so like the last 4 years I've noticed that it just feels like it's been windier in general.
Dude, it has.
Yeah, it's been not fun.
We had 80-mile-an-hour gusts last year that cleared us for roof damage. It was insane. And no hurricane. It was just windy for 2 days, and I was seeing like umbrellas fly across people's yards, and I was like, thank God I have the double pane glass.
Yeah. We are on the clock. Is there an RB that's sticking out to you?
Madison, Lloyd, and Chubb. Chubb feels like he could be this year's Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
Just goal line vulture. And then I don't mind like Lloyd just getting another shot as the only other running back on Green Bay right now to be under contract. They liked him a lot. He had an injury run out from hell. So I think
awful. Yeah.
I think Kyron Williams-esque of like coaching staff really liked him, but he had no chance to make an impact year 1, but every reason to get like 1 year of injury stuff when they like you. It's easy to forgive for most coaches that aren't Dennis Allen. Multiple seasons of being unavailable, that's when you start getting the doghouse just from frustration. So I've been clicking Lloyd a lot. I think he's sneaky a winner. They didn't sign another running back, and they didn't bring back either of Brooks or that. So you want to take another wide receiver dart?
Wide receiver or running back, whichever you're feeling here.
I think 7 running backs feel pretty good, unless you feel the need to take another one.
No. Is there any of these receivers you want to take?
Is Vele still available?
Who?
Devon Vele.
I'm gonna just scroll and see because there he is.
Nice.
Didn't
so close.
I clicked the button. We didn't get Vele. We got Mac Hollins though, and he is a wide receiver on New England. So.
and it's also McDaniels who likes Mac Hollins. So there's worse.
Yeah. All right, let's go through our team real quick. At quarterback, we have Mahomes and Kyler Murray, which is a lot of fun. Running back is a mixed bag of a room. Amarian Hampton, Jalen Warren, Trey Benson, Jalen Wright, RJ Harvey, Damian Martinez, Nick Chubb. Wide receiver is Puka, Xavier Worthy, Jawan Jennings, Debo, Rashad Bateman, Stephon Diggs, Darius Slayton, Jalen Tolbert, and Mac Hollins. And then tight end is Trey McBride and Cade Otton. So I think this is a fun team, and this is sort of the way I've been building more teams where this year I'm more in on the veteran wide receivers than rookies.
Yeah.
And then I want to take stabs at rookie running backs. So sort of that perfect balance of what I'm looking to do for the most part.
Yeah, that's how I've tried to approach it as well. The late the late receivers like Noel, Royals, those guys I'm targeting pretty heavily because I think their ADPs are overly weighted to the downside that the draft capital is not going to be.
Yeah.
But I do agree that like the middle upper tier of rookie receivers feels like one to potentially fade. We kind of saw teams address receivers the way they wanted to.
Mhm.
And even with guys like Keenan Allen and Diggs kind of getting left on the sidelines tells me like those two guys, they are veterans who fill the slot role. And so it's like, okay, the guys that might benefit the most in this draft class for the most part are the rookie slot guys, and they're going to fill that role that they're waiting for. Whereas, I think the veteran receivers that are too cheap right now are probably the target given just how things are settled in and how coaches just run their stuff.
Yeah. Completely agree with that. Before we get out of here, I guess I'll show my closest emo picture. So I'll add some context to it before I share it. But I, in my early 20s, was on a dodgeball team that the league only lasted 1 year because we just broke into fist fights afterwards every year. After every game. So that sort of changed it. But I would go in the most intimidating way that I could to these games, and I'll just share it. So that's what I used to wear to dodgeball, for those wondering, is the nice pink hair, the face paint.
It's like Pride Parade Ace Frehley. I love it.
Yeah. So we went with the pink to really intimidate our opponents, and it worked. And
Pink looks good on you, bro.
Well, that's back when I had hair too, man. Like that's gone. So that's all gone. But yeah, we were in a dodgeball league for 1 year, and it was legitimately one team that would fist fight everybody after every game. So the place that ran dodgeball just completely said no more of this. So
that really kind of describes my dodgeball history. So that's pretty good there. We lost nearly every game for an entire season, but I talked so much shit.
Yeah,
I nearly got us banned every week, and it got to the point by the end of the season that our team had to be told, like every intro was like, "All right, guys, here's the deal. We know y'all are a problem," and the entire team's like, "Y'all is not a problem. We got one guy. We talked to him." Because we'd be down like 9-2, and I'm out there talking mad shit, and they're like, "Relax."
What else are you supposed to do? It's dodgeball. Like
you
have to talk shit. Like that was the epitome of the sport. We had to do it. So that's
well, when you're a high testosterone competitive dude working with a lot of technical engineers, no one talks back, and so you just start bullying. No one else is talking shit because they're well adjusted and don't care. It was just a mismatch of vibes.
Oh, so mine was completely different. I was playing on a team against a team who one of the guys fought Ken Shamrock at one point when Ken Shamrock was older. But that's the dodgeball league I was in. So
yeah. No, I learned my lesson. If I want to play competitive, Pete kind of says the same thing. It's like I have a competitive fire, but I cannot play with people that don't have the same competitive spirit because it just feels so wrong and so mismatched. You gotta get with people that want to like throw down until the whistles go, and then it's just like, nice, good game, and it's like totally different.
Yeah, absolutely need the shit talking. It is crucial that is part of whatever sport or event that I play or anything. Actually, I mean, dude, we go on ghost hunts, and me and my friends are just shit talking each other the entire time. Like it just.
See, I was picturing you walk in there like, "Fuck you, ghosts!" And you just start talking shit to the ghosts.
That depends on where we go, right? Like that. I mean, depends what we're dealing with there. I actually have a lot of trips coming up. We're going to a prison, dude. I'm investigating a prison next month.
Which prison? Where at?
So it is in Ohio. I'll show you the prison because it's actually pretty cool.
Ooh, so it's like it's a very sad meth head type of prison then.
Well, I can it's a really cool prison is what I will say. Let me pull up a picture of this for you.
That reminds me, I have to tour Alcatraz.
I definitely want to tour Alcatraz. Alcatraz looks amazing.
Yeah.
So let me share this screen. So this is sort of this is the prison here.
Oh, that's a cool ass prison. What the hell?
Yeah, it's like almost like a castle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going there in a couple
That
weeks.
looks so European. Holy shit.
And the history behind this place is bonkers. There was a woman who went into the jail after she got arrested and set herself on fire in the prison cell.
Wow.
So there's the prisoners that have come through this place are wild. There's some sad stories. There's some crazy stories. And
which is
be in there
hilarious
all night.
for a prison called Licking County.
Yeah, Licking County. Yeah. So a funny thing is I haven't reached out to him yet, but Rich, I'm trying to think of what he goes by on Twitter, or Lord Reeves. You know Lord Reeves, right?
Yeah.
I have to text him and I have to be like, hey dude, I'm flying into Cleveland and I need to know if I can send you a gallon of fake blood to pick up, because so I can't wait to send that text. I should probably send it today.
Oh my god, you send it to him after it arrives on his doorstep. Oh, he's so funny.
Yeah, so that is so yeah, those ghosts I might taunt a little bit, because some of them were not great people in life, so we might be doing some taunting there. But
oh god, that's funny. Jeez.
Yeah, so we'll be doing that. You have anything fun coming up over the next few months with best ball or anything in general that
I'll be back with Tom on the Fantasy Sanctuary tomorrow, every Monday. Besides last week, we're going live for drafts. We are currently talking a couple of new show or new formats. Yeah, we're in the process of fine tweaking the summer schedule, but we're gonna hit it hard and hit it good. We just hit that milestone of 3,500 subs, so we really want to batten down the hatches and hit it hard. So we'll definitely be doing that. I have too many streams planned with PPR Tyler and Best Ball Guy, simply because the people really like the Always Sunny-esque shouting, yelling, and fighting that happens on stream. Very few picks are made. A lot of insults are thrown. So we've got those coming weekly on Thursdays. So it's going to be regular stuff with some fun stuff. I definitely enjoyed the marathon stream, so it sounds like we're going to run that back at least once over on the Sanctuary with guests and all day things. So it's really just, we've got a lot of ideas now. It's time to hammer them out right before we got another month and a half before the draft just kicks off. Way too many streams.
Yeah, it's fun to do all these draft streams. It's a good time. We have a lot of plans here at Spike Week as well. So let's make sure that we are subscribed to the Fantasy Sanctuary. Let's get them to 5K very soon, which would be very good. Make sure you're subbed here to Spike Week. Join the Spike Week Discord, where, like I said, right now, for free, every Wednesday night, myself, Eric Beimfor, jump on a Zoom call with everyone that wants to in the Discord. We throw the link out. It starts at 6 p.m. Eastern, and we just discuss some best ball strategy. Sometimes it goes too long. I'm not going to lie.
I was going to say, what 5-hour streams?
Yeah, they go too long sometimes. I won't lie, but they are very thoughtful.
Hour 2 of his analogy, and they're like, we haven't gotten past 2 topics.
Yes, they are thought provoking though, because it's generally not me and Eric introducing stuff. This is more of other people introducing stuff, and we're sort of playing off of that. So it's a fun learning experience. And if you go in there with an open mind, you could learn something on how you want to do something that other people are doing, or how you can incorporate it into your own draft style. And that's always sort of the way I approach that. So make sure you are in the Discord, links below to that. As Al says, those Zooms are great. Any last words, Tyler, before we get out of here?
No, shout out to Spike Week for having me on again, Rob. It's always a pleasure. So I guess go talk shit in your drafts, go talk shit to ghosts, and keep coming back for more delicious best ball content in 2025.
Absolutely. And on that note, we will catch you guys next Sunday. I will be here for a stream, so we'll catch you later. Peace. Ooh, those those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? You turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there, you can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.